welcome everyone to the Stomping Out Stigma. This is Turning Point Center's 5th annual Stomping Out Stigma. This is a time where we get to, bring awareness to stigma and the impacts that it has on our loved ones, ourselves, and everyone in between. Dealing with addiction, there's a lot of stereotypes, a lot of belittling of people. A big part about what we're doing is that not only are we here, but we have the community partners that are helping bring in resources. And we're also helping eliminate stigma. Stigma does kill. It's something that we all have dealt with in one form or another. Whether you're being stereotyped for your weight, because you're an alcoholic, maybe because you're an addict, and the list goes on and on. It starts as early as in preschool, where kids are bullied. That's where the stigma starts, and it just elevates. But I want to welcome our board member, Sarah Dunges. She's going to give us a poem reading.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Sarah Dunges, and I'm on the executive board here at Turning Point. I'm also an addict. I started drinking in my early teens, and I haven't had an ounce of control over it. Thank you, my child. That's my youngest. I haven't had an ounce of control over my drinking until February 2nd, 2021, when I got sober. And in my recovery, I started coming to Turning Point for meetings and classes, and in Turning Point, I found my recovery family. And that's how I ended up on the board. But growing up, alcohol was something that wasn't talked about in my family. It was a problem in my family, but it was not talked about. And it was always talked about as the big bad, and the thing you don't touch, and the thing you stay away from. And we didn't talk about people who had problems with alcohol, because it was a secret. And when things are secret, they don't get better. And so when I got sober, the first thing that I did was started talking very loudly and very openly about the fact that I was an alcoholic and I was in recovery. And I wanted other people to see that me, a normal suburban soccer mom, can also be an addict in recovery and can help other people find recovery also. And one of the things that I found in coming to Turning Point was Writers for Recovery. And I believe we're going to have Bianca here later, who leads classes for Writers for Recovery. And in those classes, I learned how to write my feelings and put them down on paper. And in doing so, this also helps other people see the feelings that you have and relate to you. And by relating with other people, we grow, we bond, we create families, and we create a healthier community for people to get better and for people to recover and for people to stay in recovery. So I'm going to read this for you. This is called These People. I am not a people person, or I wasn't anyway. My life has shown me too many examples of why people can't be trusted. People closest and dearest to my heart have hurt me in unimaginable ways. People, usually men, have been cruel and mean and untrustworthy. But I got sober, and these people were there. There were men, lots of men, but they were kind and honest and trustworthy. There were these women. Now, I've met some women, and women can be vicious and petty and awful. But these women were real and honest and kind. These women accepted me for the hot mess of chaos that I am. I kept a lot of good, close family who have proven to be the best kind of people. I kept a couple of girlfriends who are true and proven trusted comrades. I have gained a new family. A family of men and women, people who are kind, trustworthy, and who love me. With these kinds of people, I become the person I was always meant to be. and they got me through it. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce you to my favorite person in the whole world. He is my husband of 22 years next Saturday. He is also the #1 fan in my life that got me through my recovery, and I wouldn't be here without his love. And his name is Michael Dunges, and he also happens to be the mayor of Rutland.
Hello. I was hoping I wasn't one of those bad men in your life, by the way, so thank you for clarifying that for the audience. Hi. As my amazing wife said, my name is Mike Dunges. I'm the mayor of Rutland City. First of all, I want to thank the Turning Point Center of Rutland for putting this event on today. Thank you for everybody who showed up, whether you're here to participate or you're here as a support partner. It's fantastic to have everybody here in Meadow Street Park. And I appreciate that the city can be a part of this by providing a place for people to come and enjoy the space and time. I would say that Rutland is probably no strangers to stigma. When we talk about stigma, it is a bigger picture thing. Anybody here ever been called a flatlander? Right, there we go. That's a stigma in and of itself, and it's a simple one, but it has an effect, especially when you're not a Rutlander or you're not a Vermonter. And you know, we've been just having conversations here in the first 10, 15 minutes of me getting here about stigma being bigger than just the substance or the thing that's associated with the person. And I asked my wife, I said, you know, to me it seems like a good way to define stigma is it's attached judgment, right? Somebody else's perspective on you and who you are and why you are the way you are. And it separates, it creates this difference between the individual and maybe the subject of that individual. And I think that's a really giant gap because, yeah, maybe I'm a flatlander, but I've also lived in Vermont for 30 years of my life. And I would probably never move back to Massachusetts, almost guaranteed. So that's a simple example in my life. I can only imagine people who are stigmatized with other struggles that are based on substances or maybe actions they've taken in their life, and that's sticking with them for just an extended period of time that you can't shake. And the purpose of this event, as I understand it, is to literally break apart that stigma. So the visualization in my head, if these things are attached, that stomping out is literally breaking the stick that holds the two together. So, excuse me. While we talk about this, it's, you know, I'm no expert. I don't know how to help my community stomp out stigma outside of events like this, outside of the outreach of community partners like Turning Point of Rutland. The concept that we need to work together as family, friends, and community members to help each other, be patient with each other, allow each other to grow, and allow each other to be strong in the things that we've learned, that just seems like basic human ethics 101. And it seems like a great place to start. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for coming and celebrating the action of breaking apart that stigma in the individual. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for doing this in Rutland.
Hi, I'm Dawn Chatro, and I lost my daughter to an overdose 5 years ago. And I understand the stigma, I understand the struggles I went through with her, never being able to get a job, never being able to get treatment. And through that whole process of walking this road with her, we decided we wanted to make a treatment that was different. And so we created Jenna's Promise. It was Jenna's vision to create this, and unfortunately lost her, so we are carrying it on. But we have created a community in Johnson. You know, there's a lot of towns that say not in our town. We don't want that in our town. Well, it's already in your town, right? But that's what we went against. And we decided everything that we brought in for Jenna's Promise would be open to the people in the community. So we started with an old church where Greg and I were married, her dad and I, and we made it into a community center. And that community center has a full gym in it, and it has meetings, but anyone in the community can use it. We have the old folks come in on Thursday and play cards. We have the Girl Scouts come in. We have NA meetings, AA meetings. We have a yoga class, and you can't tell me when someone's in recovery and someone from the town are right beside each other, you can't tell the difference. Nobody knows the difference. Or if you're in the gym, and pretty soon it's like they start getting involved in the community, and they start being part of these people's recovery. We bought a cafe in town that was just old, and it was falling down right in the middle of town, and everybody wanted a coffee shop. Like, oh, our town wants a coffee shop. So we said, well, we're going to make a coffee shop. So we made a coffee shop, but everybody there that works is in recovery. So the community comes in every day to get coffee, to get lunch, to be part of these people's lives. And without even trying, we have broke down the stigma. And when the women decide it's time for them to leave, they can stay up to 12 months, they don't want to leave. They want to stay in the community because these people believe in them and they're part of the community, and it takes away that saying like, oh, that's just a druggie. Oh yeah, look at that. No, they come in and like, that looks like my daughter or my sister or whatever. And so the visual changes and the conversations change. And we also have a store which is called JP's Goods, and so we really work on workforce development. But the store has everything in at half price. So the community comes in, gets cleaning products or whatever, and everybody there works in recovery. So we give that back to the community. We have a coffee roasting company. Everybody in there works and in recovery, roast and packages, and we have it in all the rest areas now in the state of Vermont. Breaking down stigma, seeing it every day. Every time you get a coffee in there, people are reading about it, and that's going to that will support us because we can't depend on grants and donations. And we have a health center. And the health center is for people in the community, but also MAT providers and health care for any of the residents. And so whatever we have created, we have given back to the community. And they have a much richer life, and they believe in it, and they see, without even trying, it's broken down the stigma. And another nice thing is when you bring that connection in, the drug dealers leave. They don't want to be around connection. And so we've had streets that have been, they cleaned out. They don't want to be around it because, everybody's talking about it. Oh, let's take a picture of that person. Oh, let's call them. And so we've been able to really help clean our town up. And just really thankful to be asked to be here. And if anyone comes to Johnson, I'd love to show you around what we have. And every person that comes through our program that leaves has a job and has money for their own apartment. And hopefully, and trauma treatment. It's all trauma based. So, thank you. Sure. Women, sorry, but we are working on a men's, but it takes so much work. So right now we've got the 17 women and hopefully have a men's program soon. Okay. Thank you.
And up next, our paper poet, Bianca.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Bianca Mira Zanella. I use she or they pronouns, and I'm the paper poet. And I've been really lucky enough for 2024 to be doing Writers for Recovery workshops at the Turning Point here in Rutland, as well as up in Addison. And if you don't know Writers for Recovery is a statewide organization started 10 years ago, founded by Gary Miller and Bess O'Brien, and I get to facilitate essentially writing workshops for folks in recovery and allow people to be witnessed and feel that connection that was just talked about, as well as be able to form new relationships that really honor the witness of the process of recovery. And so I'm just going to share a poem here, and being able to use creativity as a form of expression is so important. And so I just want to say we're currently in the middle of our 5-week session here, and we've got, I think, 2 more weeks of it. So the last Thursday in September and that first Thursday in October, October 3rd, from 3 to 4:30. We're going to do 2 more sessions. So if you haven't checked out our Writers for Recovery workshop, please come in. So, let me just find my poem. Sorry. Okay, here we go. So this poem is called "I Will Not Let My Suffering Become Your Suffering." I'll be there, I promise. Yeah, I'll be there soon, I promise. I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there, I promise, I promise. I promise I'll leave in like the next 5 minutes. I say I'm already gone, a spore on the wind, but I'm here. Here still, in stillness and in stuckness, in sickness and in this skin. I still don't recognize as my own some days this suit of armor. The suit of armor is a promise, broken by a blade in the right bad spot. These limbs feel wrong and weak often. My knees scream at me to slow down so I'm late to learning how to walk. I see an acupuncturist who tells me, stop eating sushi. You're too damp, a distraught disposition, a real dump. So I mud step, try a new approach, a slow shuffle, unlearning my own 2 feet. And I question what holds together a promise. To practice keeping a promise, to stop lying to myself and everyone around me, is to trust the promise knows what it is doing. To let the promise walk me home for a change. A greenhouse of grief is being built of my bones. It lets the light in. It keeps its promise to the rich soil, glued together by mud adventures and mud pies from my youth, the very New England mud that raised me. Good for planting potatoes, but not much else. I'll be there, I promise, for the harvest of my new self, I promise. The day when we turn everything over and see how the prayers turned out, round, full, how they made space for themselves day by day in the dark, waiting for someone else's hand to fall in beside them and scoop them up, bring them north above ground, see how sweet we really are, and breathe for the very first time above ground. See, I'm here. I kept a promise for the very first time. Thank you so much.
How's everybody doing today? You're ready to kick Stigma, see? But I just want to thank everyone for coming here, because we can't do it alone. Together as a community, we can kick Stigma's ass.